Hello friends, the Georgivs 6 shilling coin from 1948 is a significant piece of currency in the history of British coinage. It belongs to the period when King George VI reigned over the United Kingdom and its territories. This era was marked by significant political, economic, and social changes, and the coin itself is a reflection of these changes. King George VI, born Albert Frederick Arthur George, December 14th, 1895 to February 6, 1952, was the King of the United Kingdom and the Dominions of the British Commonwealth from 1936 until his death in 1952. George VI ascended to the throne following the abdication of his older brother, King Edward VIII, in December 1936. His reign covered a turbulent period in British history, including World War II and the beginning of the decolonization of the British Empire. The king is remembered for his steadfast leadership during World War II and his role in navigating the British monarchy through challenging times. The 1 shilling was a coin in pre-decimal currency in the United Kingdom, and it was valued as 1/20th of a pound, or 12 pence. The 1 shilling coin from 1948 was part of the last series of shillings issued under King George VI's reign before the UK moved to decimalization in 1971. The design of the 1948 1 shilling coin was part of the post-war series and reflected changes in British coinage in the aftermath of World War II. These coins were made during a time when the UK was recovering from the devastation caused by the war. The obverse front of the 1948 1 shilling coin features a portrait of King George VI. This particular effigy was designed by Sir Thomas Brock, and it shows the king wearing a crown, which was standard in coins of the period. On the coin, you'll see the words Georgivs 6 DG Britanniarum Rex FD INDIMP, which translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. The reverse back design of the coin depicts the royal arms of the United Kingdom, featuring the Lion of England and the Unicorn of Scotland. The arms are supported by a rose, thistle, and shamrock, representing the nations of England, Scotland, and Ireland. Above the royal arms, the words 1 shilling are inscribed, and below it, the date 1948 is shown. The coin was minted in cupronickel and had a diameter of 30.9 millimeters with a weight of approximately 5.65 grams. The year 1948 was important because it was a time when the UK was recovering from World War II. The country faced numerous challenges, including economic difficulties and rebuilding efforts. The British government had to manage post-war rationing, inflation, and the establishment of the National Health Service, NHS, in 1948, which would become a cornerstone of British welfare. The late 1940s were also the years in which many of the British colonies were moving toward independence, marking the end of the British Empire as it had existed for centuries. The Labour government, led by Clement Attlee, was in power during this time. Attlee's government had overseen many post-war reforms, including the nationalization of industries and the establishment of the NHS. In 1948, the Marshall Plan was still in effect, a U.S. initiative to help rebuild Western Europe. For the UK, this meant the continuation of vital aid and loans, although Britain's economic troubles persisted. In the colonies, there were increasing movements for independence, and India had gained independence in 1947. This was part of the broader decolonization movement that would unfold over the following decades. The 1 shilling coin of 1948 was minted at several locations within the British Empire. The Royal Mint in London produced the majority of the coins, which was the primary mint for the United Kingdom at the time. In addition to the Royal Mint in London, the Royal Canadian Mint and the Royal Mint of Australia also produced coins for British territories. Geographically, the coin would have circulated primarily in Britain, Northern Ireland, and other parts of the British Empire, including the British Commonwealth nations. The post-war period saw significant changes in British coinage, including the introduction of new designs and the continued use of imperial currency. These included shillings, half-crowns, pennies, and crowns, which were all based on the pre-decimal system of pounds, shillings, and pence. The 1 shilling coin continued to be an important part of daily transactions in the UK until decimalization in 1971, when the currency system shifted to a decimal system based on the pound and the new pence, one new penny being worth 1/100th of a pound. Coins such as the 1 shilling were not just currency, they were a reflection of the broader cultural and political atmosphere of the time. The design, featuring symbols like the royal arms and the king's portrait, reinforced the central role of monarchy and British identity in a time of national rebuilding and global transition. As time passed, the 1948 1 shilling coin became a collector's item. Coins from the George VI era are now highly prized by numismatists, coin collectors, due to their historical significance, rarity, and the fact that they are no longer in circulation. The design of the 1 shilling coin of 1948 marked the end of an era. It was one of the last coins minted before decimalization. The period from 1948 to the early 1970s was a time of transition in British currency, and the 1948 shilling serves as a reminder of that period of significant change. Modern collectors value these coins for their historical context. The coins from the reign of King George VI represent the end of an era in British currency and are part of the legacy of the monarchy's long-standing influence over British currency. The Georgivs 6 1 shilling coin of 1948 represents much more than just a unit of currency. It reflects a particular moment in history, a moment when the UK was beginning its recovery from the devastation of World War II. The coin, through its design and historical context, carries the weight of British monarchy, the empire, and the economic, political, and social shifts of the post-war period. For collectors and history enthusiasts alike, the 1948 1 shilling coin is a piece of history that provides a window into the turbulent, transformative years of the late 1940s and the reign of a monarch who guided Britain through some of its most challenging times.